Alright, this is a follow-up video to that free pick we sent out last night, Clearwire, CLWR. Liked this chart. Remember we called it over 601. I'm going to switch to 5s and show you how I called it live in chat. Because remember, 601 is based on the daily chart, but if it trades, if it gives us a better entry or a lower risk entry, we'll take that in chat. So this is the opening candle right here. It's the opening 5-minute candle today. Supposed to be an arrow, and it sold down to 592, had an early high of 598. So as it climbed back up, I called it at 599 because that's a high of day break. It didn't sell off very much, and a good chance 599 gets us to 601, and then hopefully starts knocking down those other catalysts, 608 and 612. So what happened? It triggered and went pretty quickly to 608. Okay, that's over a 1% move in 10 or 15 minutes, and we teach our members always to sell into a pop, tighten up your stop. Let's just say you took 8 cents or 7 cents on half, then you can give yourself the 7-cent stop on the other half, 7 cents below your entry, and still look at a net flat trade. Personally, I couldn't have handled this one worse, because on that pop, I took the trade, took the entry 599, and on the pop, I didn't take any off the table. I got to looking around for other ideas. I kind of thought Clearwire was breaking out today, and it was on autopilot, if you will, and it gave me plenty of time as it came back down here to get out flat at my entry, and I had my stop here, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to let my stop work. So I couldn't have handled that or broken my own rules any worse, but we did have many members thanking me, and then sold some into that pop. It just didn't follow through, and came down and got me there. So it's unusual for me to get stopped out the full position without paying myself into a 1% move. That's just me not following my own rules. But so that's what happened with Clearwire. I'm gonna go over, if I can, every trade from today that we called, just to give you an idea of how the chat room works, and I'll try to be brief. XNPT. This one's been beaten up. Let me turn that drawing tool off for a second. This one's been beaten up after the gap up on the daily. So we had this on bounce watch today, and then I made a call on it. I believe it was right here. I could be wrong. No, I think it was right here. I'm sorry. It was 888 and a worst case stop 871. Now you can see this one again is another one that had moved enough, 888 to 904. It came up and challenged the high of the day but couldn't get through it. So not a huge move, but enough move to put some money in your pocket, get to a break-even stop. LDK, after that solar pop, I tried to find a secondary way in and called LDK at I think right here, 1158, worst case stop 1143, 15 cents risk, and look what it did the rest of the day. This is kind of the market we're in right now, just straight sideways the rest of the day. Never stopped out, and it's up a few pennies from where we called it. The day's winding down right here now though, so CRUS, that's right, I called CRUS, but that was a no trade. It never did trigger. WMS 3126. WMS had a nice little tight base right there. See that base? After that huge gap down yesterday, today it climbed up, took out yesterday's high. I don't want to chase it there, but then after that, I'll zoom in a little bit here, formed this tight base. So I called it over this base. 3126, 3109 stop, and it ended up making it from 3126 to 3175. I took, I can't remember, 22 cents on half, 40 something cents on another quarter. I posted those in the chat room, and flat on the rest. So again, nothing huge today. It was a pretty boring day. No, I canceled that one. I called Kraft, KFT, 3234. Kraft had a nice base here and was near the breakout area on daily. So the call was 32.34. Worst case stop 32.28. That's pretty good risk reward there. And from 32.34, the entry was, I believe it was right here. And here's the stop. So 6 cents risk, and from 32.34, it made it big deal, but it did make some money for us at the 32.46. A big 12-cent move on 6 cents risk. So that's kind of an exciting day it was. I think that's it. One other call I forgot. BTU we had on bounce watch because it was so beaten up on the daily. Switching to 5s. I noticed that this made, well, I'll show you what it looked like when I called it. Looked like this. I noticed that it made this pop, then put in a lower high on 5s. I said, if you can take these sellers out, could get a move through the high of the day. 65.22 above this red candle, and you can see what happened. Pretty quickly, 5, 10, 15 minutes later, up to 65.79. So again, a nice profitable pop, but then just a lot of chopping around. And remember, we're looking for quick profits, tighten stops, and then back to break even on the rest. And then late in the day, I mentioned Dell. I believe right here as a potential long, and that made a decent little move too, but nothing huge. And I think that, let me double check that real quick. Yeah, looking at the time of the call, I'm pretty sure it was right in here. So it gave a nice little late day pop too. But overall, just a really boring day. AG also another little scalp in the afternoon. I mentioned this, and I didn't take this one, but I mentioned it, I believe, over this base or over this base. Either one paid nicely in pretty short order. But that's it. Overall boring day. Okay, my apologies. One last trade that I was projecting and showing the room at the time. Aruba Networks gapped up, was very strong. These are 2-minute candles. And then when it pulled back down here, I called it over this 2-candle high. So there's the trigger, and there's the stop. I'll give you the numbers. And this was it for the room. 30.63 stop below this candle. 30.37. So what is that, about 26 cents, I think? And from 30.63, it never did stop out, and it made it to 31.70. So a decent one there too. And that's it. That is the entire gamut from the day, unless I missed something. Looking over the announcements featured from the chat room and my notes that I took on the audibles that I called. That's the entire spectrum of calls for the day. So overall, pretty boring day. We'll send out another free pick next week. Until then, we'll talk to you later. Have a great night.